My parents said it again tonight. You're too small to handle real responsibilities. They didn't even whisper it. They threw it across the dinner table like a hammer, and it landed on me just like they wanted. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us, what would you do in this situation? Be honest, tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. I sat there, quiet, because what was the point? My dad's voice was sharp, like he wanted to break something in me. My mom didn't even bother hiding her smirk. She added, "You've always been delicate, Avery. Fragile. You don't need to carry heavy burdens. It's not who you are. Do you know what it feels like to have the people who raised you call you weak? Not once, not twice, but your whole life." I gripped my wine glass so tightly I thought it would shatter. But I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I let their words hang in the air because I knew something they didn't. The clock was ticking. And midnight was coming. Noah, my husband, my partner in everything, squeezed my hand under the table. He didn't have to say anything. His eyes told me what I already knew. Hold steady. Avery, you've already won. They had no idea that the small, fragile daughter they mocked was about to close the biggest tech merger of the year. At 12:07 a.m., while the city slept, every major business outlet broke the headline, Helix Link and North Peak Systems merge, billion-dollar deal signed by Avery Lane and Noah Reed. I just sat there in our penthouse living room, staring at the screen, my heart racing, my phone buzzing like it was about to explode. They told me I was too small. And yet here I was, signing something so massive it would ripple across the entire tech world. That was the moment I realized. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer you can give. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Headlines, investor calls, congratulatory messages from people who once ghosted me. My inbox was a wildfire, but none of it rattled me the way the knock at the door did. It was just after 9 a.m. Noah was in the kitchen, pouring coffee. I was still in my robe, hair tied back, scrolling through one article after another that had my name bolded in headlines. Then, 3 sharp knocks. I looked at Noah. He didn't even need to check the security camera. He already knew. His jaw tightened as he set his mug down. "It's them," he said flatly. I walked to the door anyway. My stomach twisted when I peeked through the frosted glass. There they were, my parents. Richard and Diane Lane, standing on the polished concrete entryway, like actors who had rehearsed their lines all night. My dad was holding a bouquet of lilies. My mom was dressed as if she was heading to a luncheon, not to see the daughter she'd called fragile less than 24 hours earlier. Noah stepped behind me, his hand firm on the door handle. "You don't have to do this," he murmured. But I pressed my palm to the glass just to steady myself. My mother leaned in, trying to peer past the door. Her voice carried, muffled but clear enough. "Avery, sweetheart, we're so proud of you. We misjudged you. Can we come in? We just want to talk." The way she said proud nearly made me laugh. Because it wasn't pride, it was desperation. Then my father's voice cut in. His tone wasn't sweet, wasn't apologetic. It was commanding, as if he still thought he had power over me. "Emily." He used my childhood nickname, the one that always made me feel smaller. "Open the door. Let us in. We need to celebrate. Celebrate." That was the word he chose. Not apologize, not listen. Celebrate. I felt Noah's grip tighten on the handle, not to open it, but to make sure it stayed shut. He looked at me, waiting for my call. His eyes were calm, steady, reminding me that this choice wasn't about them. It was about me. And for the first time in years, I wasn't the little girl begging for their approval. I was the woman who had signed a billion-dollar deal. I took a breath, my voice steady. "Noah, keep the door closed." Through the glass, I watched my father's expression shift. His jaw twitched. He wasn't used to being denied. He spoke louder now, trying to make his voice sound warm but failing. "Avery, listen. We were wrong. You've proven yourself. You're not small. You're not fragile. You've shown us you can handle real responsibilities. So, let's put everything behind us. We're family. Family. The word rolled around in my head like a cruel joke. Where was family when I was burning myself out, coding for 18 hours a day, eating instant noodles because every cent went into Helix Link? Where was family when I called home just to hear encouragement, and instead got told I should marry rich instead of trying to build something myself? They weren't here. They never were. And now, because the headlines screamed my name, they suddenly remembered they had a daughter. I turned to Noah. My throat was tight, but my decision was clear. They don't get to walk in now. Not after everything. He nodded once, and without hesitation, he held the door firmly shut. My mother's smile faltered. She tried again, her voice higher now, almost desperate. Avery, please. We're sorry. We just didn't know. But now we see who you are. We're proud of you. We want to be part of your life again. Her words should have felt like balm. Instead, they stung worse than the insults. Because it wasn't real. It was convenience. I pressed my forehead against the door for just a moment and whispered, more to myself than to them. You only see me now because the world does. Then I raised my voice. Calm. Cold. Final. Go home. You told me I was too small. You told me I couldn't handle real responsibilities. You don't get to rewrite that today. Not with flowers. My dad stiffened, his face hardening behind the glass. For the first time, he looked powerless. My mom tugged his sleeve, but he resisted for a second before finally stepping back. Noah and I stood there, silent as they walked away, my mom glancing back one last time, my dad refusing to turn around. The flowers slipped from his grip and hit the sidewalk, petals scattering. I closed my eyes. For years, I thought the only way I'd ever feel whole was if they finally said, "We're proud of you." But standing there, watching them walk away while Noah held me steady, I realized something different. I didn't need their pride. I had my own, and for the first time in my life, that was enough. I thought ignoring them at the door would be the end of it. I was wrong. By noon, I had 3 missed calls, 4 voicemails, and a dozen texts. My mom's tone shifted in every message, sweet, pleading, guilt-tripping. My dad's words were shorter, colder, but no less desperate. We need to talk. This isn't how families act. You owe us that much. Owe them? That word gnawed at me, because that's how it always was with them. I owed them gratitude, respect, obedience, even when what they gave me in return was doubt and humiliation. By evening, I knew I couldn't avoid them forever. Not because I needed them, but because for once, I wanted to look them in the eye as the woman they had said I'd never be. Noah wasn't thrilled when I told him. He leaned against the kitchen counter, arms crossed, his dark eyes steady on mine. Avery, you don't need to explain yourself to them. You don't owe them a performance. I know, I said softly, but I need to say it. Not for them. For me? He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Then I'll be right there with you. We met them the next night in a downtown restaurant. The kind of place my parents loved. White tablecloths, chandeliers, quiet enough that whispered judgments carried across the room. They were already seated when we arrived. My mom smiled like she'd been practicing in the mirror, but her eyes flicked nervously to my dad. He sat stiff, jaw locked, the bouquet of charm nowhere in sight. Avery, my mom breathed, rising just enough to air-kiss my cheek. You look radiant. Thank you, I said flatly, sliding into the seat across from them. Noah sat beside me, his presence solid, anchoring. The silence stretched until my dad finally broke it. So, the merger. He said it like the word tasted bitter. You pulled it off. Yes, I said, my tone even. We did. He leaned back, arms crossing. I'll admit, I didn't think you had it in you. There it was. No apology, no ownership. Just a reluctant concession. I met his stare. You didn't think I had it in me because you never bothered to see me? You only saw the version of me you decided was real. And every time I tried to prove otherwise, you laughed. My mom tried to smooth it over. Honey, we just worried. We didn't want you hurt if it all failed. Parents, I cut her off. My voice was sharper than I expected. No, don't wrap it in concern. You didn't protect me. You crushed me. You called me fragile, delicate, small, like I was some glass ornament. Do you know how many nights I worked until sunrise? How many times I broke down wondering if you were right? And every single time I got back up. It wasn't because of you. It was despite you. The table went still. My mom's face paled. My dad's lips pressed thin. Noah's hand found mine under the table, a quiet squeeze. I leaned forward, my voice lower now, but stronger. When you told me I couldn't handle responsibility, I carried the weight anyway. When you said I couldn't lead, I built a team that believed in me. When you said I wasn't enough, I proved I was more than you ever gave me credit for. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The clinking of cutlery from other tables filled the silence. Finally, my father cleared his throat. You've made your point. But understand something, Avery. Family is family. We want to move forward. We can't erase what was said, but we can. Start again, I almost laughed. Start again. The words sounded so clean, so simple, like everything could be wiped away with one dinner and a forced smile. No, I said quietly. We don't get to just start again. You don't get to rewrite history because now it's convenient. You don't get to show up with flowers after the headlines hit and act like you've been in my corner all along. You made your choice when you decided I was too small. And I've made mine now. I don't need your approval. I never did. I just needed to realize it. My mom's eyes filled, but not with understanding, with fear. Fear of being left out of the life I had built. Avery, please. Don't shut us out. We're your parents. We love you. I shook my head. You loved the version of me that needed you, the one who would shrink to fit inside your expectations. That version doesn't exist anymore. I stood up. Noah rose beside me, his hand warm against my back. My dad stayed seated, but his voice followed, hard and bitter. Don't come running back when you realize family matters more than business. I turned, my voice calm but cutting. You're right. Family matters. That's why I'm choosing mine. Noah, my team, the people who believed in me when you didn't. That's my family now. And with that, I walked out. The cool night air hit me like a release. For years I had carried the weight of their words, craving their approval like oxygen. But standing there under the streetlights, Noah's hand in mine, I realized I was breathing easier without it. They could keep their lilies, their empty apologies, their shifting tones. I had something stronger, the knowledge that I had built my life on my own terms. And I didn't need them to hold the door open anymore, because now I was the one holding it shut. I thought walking out of that restaurant would be the last time I'd see them. But life has a way of testing your resolve right when you think you're done. 2 weeks later, on a Saturday morning, I heard another knock at the door. Not the firm, commanding rhythm my father used. This one was slower, almost hesitant. I hesitated too, heart pounding as I checked the camera feed. It was them again. My mother clutched an envelope. My father stood stiff beside her, his face a storm barely held together. Noah was at the dining table, reviewing quarterly projections. He looked up, saw the screen, and immediately set his pen down. Avery, do you want me to? I shook my head. No, I'll handle it. He didn't argue. He just leaned back in his chair, eyes locked on me, ready if I needed him. I opened the door halfway this time, but I didn't invite them in. My mother's smile was shaky. Sweetheart, she said softly, holding out the envelope. We wrote you a letter. Things we should have said years ago. Her voice cracked, and for a moment, the little girl inside me ached to believe her. But then my father spoke. You've made it clear you don't need us, he said gruffly. But this, he gestured to the envelope. This doesn't change the fact that we're family. That blood is blood. There it was again. That same weaponized word. Family. I looked at the envelope but didn't reach for it. Do you know what family really means? I asked quietly. It's not just blood. It's not just a last name. It's who shows up when you're broken. Who believes in you when no one else does. By that definition, You stopped being family a long time ago. My mom's eyes brimmed with tears. Avery, we're trying— No, I cut her off, my voice sharper than I intended. You're not trying for me. You're trying for yourselves. You see success now, so suddenly I'm worth claiming. But where were you when I was begging for encouragement? Where were you when you laughed at me for dreaming too big? You don't get to erase those years with flowers and envelopes. The silence stretched. My dad's jaw tightened, his pride fighting to stay intact. My mom finally lowered the envelope, her shoulders trembling. I took a step forward, my tone steady. I don't hate you. I don't even wish you harm, but I won't let you back into my life on your terms. My boundaries aren't negotiable, and if you can't respect that, then this is where our story ends. For the first time, my father had nothing to say. He just looked at me, his eyes a mix of regret and stubbornness, then turned away. My mother lingered a second longer, her lips parting like she wanted to beg one more time, but she didn't. They walked down the path slowly, the envelope still in her hands. I closed the door. This time there was no shaking in my chest. No longing. Just relief. Noah stood and walked over, wrapping his arms around me. You did it, he whispered. You finally said everything you needed to say. I leaned into him, letting the weight fall off my shoulders. I didn't do it for them, I said. I did it for me, he smiled, pressing a kiss to my temple. Exactly. And that's why it matters. That night, as the city lights blinked through our windows, I sat on the balcony with my laptop open. Another headline had just dropped. Carter-Reed merger sparks new era in tech industry, led by Avery Lane. I stared at my name glowing on the screen. Not their name, mine. And for the first time in my life, I didn't need anyone else to tell me I was enough. I already knew.